Blizzard is a woke, failing trash pile of a company. And when it comes to the new player experience, without a doubt, the all-time worst new player experience has to go to Destiny 2. I know this is a World of Warcraft video, but to be absolutely fair, it's Destiny 2, and it's not honestly even close. Don't get me wrong, World of Warcraft is the second frontrunner, without a doubt, a close second. But the new player experience, how bad it is in Destiny 2, needs to honestly be studied. The whole experience literally yells at people, please delete this game, it's not worth your time. You get introduced to new systems that you can't even access constantly. Some quests can soft lock the tutorial that doesn't allow you to progress further. The moment you finish the tutorial, and you want to sell or buy items, the NPC you were told that does that is dead. It's abysmal. It is literally, without a doubt, the worst new player experience. But World of Warcraft, Blizzard can never be. Blizzard always needs to be on top, boys. What can I honestly say at this point? The World of Warcraft experience, as someone who literally did it probably not even a month ago, 1 to 80 in the War Within, I can tell you that it's bad. Oh boys, is it stupid, is it slop? I have a lot to say about it, trust me. I have already talked previously about it, but man, World of Warcraft's experience is arguably worse because anything before the late game is just you effectively losing time.
Pretty simple fact, World of Warcraft dies if it gains players more slowly than it loses players. And for most of history, especially WoW's modern history, that's been a problem, and starting WoW has been an absolute nightmare. I mean, sure, Exile's Reach is fine, but it's a completely disconnected story that immediately dumps
I have never done Exile's Reach. It seems stupid.
you into Dragonflight, and when you play Dragonflight, you don't have any context. If you're new,
I have played Dragonflight. By the way, this is the first time when I thought that, you know what, I'm gonna play a little bit of retail. It was in when Dragonflight was still a thing, when it was the newest expansion or something like that, and I needed to level, and my rogue was level 60, 70 or something like that, and I needed to level in Dragonflight. World of Warcraft retail, to be absolutely fair, is woke slop. But pressing buttons, very fun. Sometimes it's less fun. For example, the subtitry specialization for rogues is abysmally boring. It's literally just spam 2 buttons most of the time, and that's it. Like, Season of Discovery had a better rotation for rogues, honestly, than the subtitry. But whatever. Pressing buttons for most classes is at least somewhat fun. For most specs. You can always find something that's actually fun to press and whatnot. But the Dragonflight story, I have already ranted about this before. I quit leveling roughly, probably not even 1 hour in after starting the Dragonflight Horde experience of leveling. I don't know if Alliance has different experience, that's why I'm saying Horde. So, at the start, you need to assemble your grand cohort of a Fury, a Twink, and another Fury, I'm assuming, or something like that. You have no idea who these people are, why they matter, and whatever. But okay, you go to the place, and it's the typical World of Warcraft shtick that literally has, by the way, happened for a decade at this point. No one talks about it, but I just want to emphasize it. Every World of Warcraft expansion starts off the same, and it is literally this. New place, go to new place, shipwreck, be on beach, establish hold, go do other things. Literally, this has been the how every expansion starts since Wrath of the Lich King, pretty much. Literally since Wrath of the Lich King, this is how every single story starts. I'm kind of saying it's boring and tedious and it's getting old, Blizzard, but whatever. That is not the true problem of World of Warcraft leveling in Dragonflight. It's the generic super woke slop writing. It is safe, it is boring. Dragonflight was the expansion when people say that, oh, it's the best one it has ever been. It's the return to form, and it wasn't. It's just the fact that everyone who could leave already left, and only the super Blizzard yes men were left. Dragonflight was a horrible fucking expansion. It sucked so hard. It was atrocious. That's why no one came back, even though the only thing you heard about it was pretty much praise, because the only people left were people who were indentured servitude to Blizzard pretty much at this point. Leveling in Dragonflight also was the most abysmal thing ever. Again, I leveled for an hour and then I just quit retail. Literally bought a subscription and quit in an hour because the Dragonflight leveling was so horrendous. All the dragons are generic pansies. All of them are weak. All of them are feminine. All of them are some kind of caricatures of one singular personality trait that's completely dumb and stupid. They don't seem like dragons at all. Nothing that you make makes sense. The first thing you're supposed to do is make everyone feel warm and welcome and fuzzy in your fucking campsite, which is even stupider. It's a bunch of click on this, fetch quests, and things like that, which make absolutely no sense. And when you actually start to do things, it's like, I am the dragon who will sacrifice his life for the dragon people. And then there's like, no, young one, you shouldn't sacrifice your life for the dragons. This is not who we are. Yes. I mean, it is, well, Dragonflight in general is literally one of the stupidest, dumbest, and wokest expansions ever made. The whole point of that is, by the way, there's two evil dragons, and one of them is a man, so obviously evil. And whenever you see now an evil woman in World of Warcraft, you just know she's misunderstood. And that was the thing that happened with Dragonflight, by the way, the story. The dude's evil and you need to kill him, but the woman's misunderstood, and after she has killed a lot of your allies, a lot of your friends, a lot of your friends' families and whatnot, she's like, you know what, I'm kind of switching sides. Are we cool here? And everyone's like, yep, seems about fine. Coddle, she killed your family. Are you okay with this? And Coddle's like, yep, I mean, misunderstood woman. It's ridiculous. It is just painfully torturous. And that's just Dragonflight, by the way. The rest of the game is also painfully torturous. Because World of Warcraft suffers from one big issue when it comes to leveling. Leveling doesn't matter. But thankfully, you can actually level to max in like a couple of hours if you're just dungeon spamming and you get into Brewmaster Tank Twink, who will literally one-shot the whole instance in less than 2 minutes and gets you like 10 levels in 30 seconds, which is a real thing that happened to me, which I was pretty lucky on with because reasons. But yes, leveling is so tedious. Leveling feels so bad because leveling doesn't matter. In the retail, nothing but the endgame matters. And by the way, endgame is a whole different conversation. I'm going to stop yapping and we're going to hear what Baldur has to say about the glory of World of Warcraft. But the last thing, normal leveling is just tedious. Because the reality is, roughly since from the start of Cataclysm, well, yeah, since the start of literally Cataclysm, considering I played it, and then I played Mist of Pandaria and got to level 89 and stopped playing because it was fucking boring. But since Cataclysm, leveling has become this absolute tedious slop farm fiesta in the sense that you just one-shot everything. When I started playing from level 1 Cataclysm, it was so boring. It was the most boring thing ever because you just essentially one-shotted everything. If I was playing sub in that expansion, I just went in with bam, one-shotted. Literally one button press and one-shotted everything. And I didn't have any of that, what's it called? Heirloom gear? Heirloom gear. I didn't have any of that. Still don't. And every class can pretty much one-shot any mob. So when you have that, there's no risk of you dying ever. You don't need to stop to eat. You don't need to do anything. You just need to click once on enemy and click again so they die. Everything just becomes a tedious task because nothing's really stimulating you per se, because all you're doing is just pressing one shitty button. And so leveling as a whole becomes just tedious and boring and dull because nothing's happening. The only things that's happening is you're getting levels. The story doesn't matter anymore. The story hasn't mattered forever. It's slop. You know my opinions on that. I have talked about it a lot. Like, Midnight is fucking vogue garbage, and Vrat Within literally doesn't matter. Like, tell me a single thing that happened in the Vrat Within that actually mattered. Nothing of it. The only thing you did in the Vrat Within was, again, remove incompetent males from power and empower womans of power. Which is great.
Then you're confused. Of course, you can go and do Chromie time, but that still is a fractured experience that...
I did Chromie time. I have no idea what the fuck happened. Also, as a new player, there's like 100 different things that completely ruin your experience because you have no idea how they work.
Fails to onboard people,
including Chromie time, by the way,
into the world of Warcraft. And you see, I've noticed something. Players who care about the Warcraft lore and setting typically started in like Vanilla, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King a bit of a while ago. And in those expansions, back in those days, you would level up sequentially from 1 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80. It would take time. A lot of people would just want to level up faster, but players would get immersed in the world, they get immersed in the lore, they'd actually understand that stuff, and that coherent experience built up player investment. Now, though, people can't make heads nor tails of the lore, I'd say especially if they're new. And today's Exile's Reach does still put you into Dragonflight, but that's not putting WoW's best foot forward. And that's where the big news of today is. Blizzard wants to fix this, and many fixes are coming, and they're coming this year, specifically in patch 11.2.7. And what these are going to do is pretty much entirely revamp how World of Warcraft is to new players, and there's even going to be a modified campaign that you'll be able to play if you feel out of the loop. I also have a problem. Vercel's V0 and every no-code tool on Earth have empowerment. The revamped new player experience involves reworking 3 key parts of World of Warcraft, which are Dragonflight, the War Within, and Exile's Reach itself. Now, these things aren't like just little level up campaigns that are strung together. What Blizzard are also doing is restructuring the endgame content of these expansions so that you can actually play that content while you're leveling your character. And what this means is that World of Warcraft is adopting something similar to Final Fantasy XIV's pretty goddamn successful model of making the full story into a single coherent campaign. Because
oh god, that's gonna be so annoying, because that's gonna take so much time, and it's probably gonna get broken if you join a dungeon or something. Oh no.
If you're playing, say, the FF14 MSQ, you don't just say, go to 5.0 and then skip to 6.0. No, you play all of the story in between. That's important so players know what the hell is going on. WoW is quite the opposite.
Yeah, but doesn't Final Fantasy still take, like, time to level up? In World of Warcraft, that's a joke.
You'll finish the Dragon Isles and you'll jump straight into the War Within, but you'll do that without seeing any of the Dragon Isle stories conclude, without seeing any of the real setup for War Within. Characters will leap ahead
The War Within has setup? What? I didn't even know that.
Inexplicably in their plot. Say Xal'atath. Her appearing in the War Within feels random if you've not fought Sarkareth or done, say, the Void storyline from the Fractures in Time patch. This stuff is a nightmare, and to understand how transformative Blizzard's overall changes are going to be, what I'll do is examine what new players will actually experience as of patch 11.2.7. First up, Exile's Reach is being revamped, so new players are still going to begin there, but Blizzard is essentially remaking it with a different story, a new one, and one that will flow directly into Dragonflight. But the Dragonflight you'll go into is a little bit different to the one that you've, well, played up to now. And just so you feel the difference, this new version of Exile's Reach will lead you directly to the Waking Shores by essentially making it Well, a storyline that flows
Hey, I have been here. This is a quest where you feed the dragons fish because fucking reasons.
with consistent characters. And narratively, tying these things together can make sense. Exile's Reach is located in Azeroth's North Sea, basically northeast of the Eastern Kingdoms. It's north of Kul Tiras, it's near, say, Northrend. It's also near the Dragon Isles. That means it is perfect positioning for, well, transitioning into full Dragon Isles. Now, Blizzard have also said that Thrall, Jaina, Kael'thas, and Rathian are going to be involved in this new experience as well. And if you're bringing in a character like Rathian, well, that's extremely important. He's directly involved with the Drakthir storyline, so we know that around the time of Dragonflight's beginning, Rathian's...
I don't know a lot about this dude, but isn't he, like, actually a major fucking failure lore-wise? He kind of does things, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. He's kind of an ally. Like, bro, listen. Stop killing off horde leaders and just get a deal with the fucking Rathian, okay? He's boring.
Basically flapping about in that neck of the woods. So maybe the evoker stuff happens and then he goes to Exile's Reach. Maybe it's the other way around, but basically these things will flow together. But it's not just him. Kael'thas is also going to be there. Obviously, Kael'thas is heavily involved in Dragonflight's story, and that will mean that for players, it will feel like a single storyline rather than them doing the current Exile's Reach, which is basically irrelevant to the current story, which will mess up the signal-to-noise ratio of the game, that then throws you straight into the capital cities, again, with very little context, and then, after that, you're thrown into Dragonflight, which...
Wait, none of this matters. None of this matters for new players. You know what fucking matters for new players? Okay, I'll explain to you. People who play World of Warcraft are not accustomed to the new content and whatnot. You're not gonna probably even understand that, which is part of the problem, I guess, because you can just become blind to it. It is the fact that there's just too many systems to understand what's happening in this. As a new player, and you're starting from a 1 to 80, 90, who cares what's the level cap currently? As a new player who starts there, you have no fucking idea what's happening. You get a quest that tells you to go do this expansion, and you can pick all of them up, and you have no idea, is this the right thing? It doesn't tell you. Like, when I was leveling 1 to 80, I accidentally started the storyline quests for, like, 4 or 5 different expansions because they were just there, marked as normal quests, and they didn't tell you, oh, this is the start of the Warcraft expansion. Or no, not Warcraft, but this was the start of Battle for Azeroth. I don't want Battle for fucking Azeroth. What do you mean, bruh? What? Why? And then it's like an unskippable cutscene or something like that, and how do you get out of it? I don't even know. Oh, you're supposed to cancel the quest, but that's the first thing that completely ruins the new player experience. You can't even, if you want to do a specific place, you can't even figure out how to honestly do it. Okay, and there's so many things. There's so many systems that you have no idea what they do. They're poorly explained. And everyone who plays World of Warcraft currently and has been for ages now does not understand this. For new players, the amount of systems, like currently, by the way, I haven't done mythic raiding, but I have done pub raiding or whatever it's called. I have done 2 raids through the Rainfinder, and people died around me. I have no idea what they even died from, by the way. I don't know I don't know what the max item level is. I have no idea how to fucking unlock mythic. I have no idea of anything. There's so many systems that are not explained. And in every expansion, there's systems that are not explained. I have no idea, by the way, even currently, should I be farming fucking renown in the Warwithin. I have no idea if it's useful. The bandage system that you get in the stupid desert area that looks like every other desert in the game that is stupid. I have no idea. It doesn't explain you anything. Like, every system should be explained and associated with, is it current content or not? Item reforging. Set item pieces. Are there two different type of sets that I can play? Like, how does that work? I have no idea about any of this. Because nothing is explained. Everything I do know so far, I had to Google. Because nothing in the game actually explains it. How does the Great Vault work? I don't fucking know. I can't even actually find a way that you get to the Great Vault from the interface. I once did it on accident, so I know there's something I can press that gets me to the Great Vault, but I have no idea how to get there. Professions look like a nightmare. I have absolutely no clue what to do with professions or how they work or where to even start with them. I need I need to look up a guide at this point to understand what the hell is happening with the professions. I'm leveling them up by clicking shit on the world, and I'm not a herbalist. What the hell? Everything is just a complicated system that's not explained. And this is where a lot of people who have played World of Warcraft and stuck around with it are probably going to say, oh, that's not true. It is true. You just can't recognize it because for you, you already know these systems. There is a severe difference between a new player like me or someone who doesn't know all the systems like me versus someone like you who does know the systems. Because the reality is, for you, when you encounter a system you don't know, it's just one system. You know already where you need to Google how it works, where you need to go, and so on. I have to deal with 20 different systems, and 10 of those systems are not going to be even actually irrelevant for the stuff that I'm doing. The moment I hit level 80 and the dailies unlocked, I was this is the first time I encountered actually dailies like this. I was so fucking lost on what's happening. Now, granted, you just do them blindly like a moron, and you kind of figure it out because you just do them like a moron because of the rewards you get, and then you understand what they do. But still, it's like for a new player, you have no fucking idea what's happening in the game and what you need to be honestly doing in the game. Except that there's these world quests that give you loot and there's bigger power and whatnot. Like, my current concept is how I unlock mythic delves is do delve rank 10 or something like that, and then I unlock mythic delves. Do I need a team for that, or can I solo them? I don't know. What are the consumables for raiding? I don't know. How do I unlock mythic? I don't know. Is it an item level? I don't know. I already did the maximum thing that I could in 2 raids and finished the current big void dude's raid in the story mode. So I don't know. I literally have no idea what I'm supposed to do at this point. And I think most people don't have any idea what's happening.
Of course, in the current Exile's Reach, you won't be ready for, or you could, go into Chromie time, I guess, and just get kind of confused. Now, the original Exile's Reach involved a necromantic dragon plot with a bunch of ogres. Of course, if Blizzard wanted to get that ogre stuff tying into some of the Void, maybe the Twilight's Hammer, they could try and do something like that. I don't think that would really make too much sense, but the fact that there was necromantic dragon business going on does mean there's dragon business on Exile's Reach, which means it will flow into Dragonflight. Perhaps we'll find out Exile's Reach was involved in the Scaleborn conflict. Maybe that's why there's, a dead dragon there whenever we went to the original version of the island. And that sort of thing would foreshadow the Primal Incarnates well, who of course will appear as some of the main villains in Dragonflight. Rathian being there is great as well. He's got connections to Deathwing, to the Old Gods, which also means to the Darkheart, and of course to Iridikron. That's all stuff that could be baffling to a new player who maybe doesn't know about, say, the Cataclysm expansion. This, then, should help clarify those relationships. Now, my question is whether the likes of Captain Garrick and the other Exile's Reach characters will return. I mean, they're already in the Waking Shores, so if Blizzard wanted to make, I suppose, By
the way, these lore explanations are not gonna work, because, again, Blizzard is extremely woke and lame. So, any explanation that they are gonna do is gonna be lukewarm fluff that no one cares about and a lot of people are gonna ignore.
of the Seventh Dawn Diet Edition, maybe they could do that. And we do know some of those characters can join you in follower dungeons, and that's going to become irrelevant because, well, it ain't just follower dungeons. We're also getting more story mode raids. And with that said, let's talk about the next piece of the puzzle, which is Dragonflight itself.
By the way, I hated the story mode raid with the Void, dude. That experience was fucking horrid. Really bad. It was tedious above everything else.
To us veterans, Dragonflight may feel narratively scattered. It was establishing many different plot threads, some ended up being relevant, others less relevant, and what Blizzard have said they're doing is essentially a remap of this expansion's campaign to include endgame content within the level up experience. So as you level from 10 to 70, you'll complete each zone's main campaign, all that stuff. Then you'll experience the endgame content that resolves those storylines. And this is absolutely huge for WoW. Of course, it's a structure that does make narrative sense as well. You'll complete the 4 leveling up zones that will introduce the local plot threads, get you a bit immersed, then you'll experience the Vault of the Incarnates in story mode. That's where we defeat Razageth, but, well, she does manage to free the other primal incarnates, most importantly to our story, Iridikron. Now, you'll then immediately be able to follow them to the Forbidden Reach. That's where you'll see them acquire the Dark Heart, which is an artifact that's central to the story. Then that journey continues into Aberrus in Zaralet Cavern, which seriously matters. Now yeah, there is all of that Black Dragonflight succession stuff, can people get over their daddy issues? Maybe that'll get trimmed, hopefully that'll get trimmed down just a smidge. To me, there are 2 relevant things. First, learning about Deathwing and the Dark Heart, and second, Sarkareth. So, fighting Sarkareth in Aberrus...
Can we quit retconning motivations of old characters, by the way? Half the fucking reason we are in this situation is because the lore gets constantly also retconned.
Introduces the cosmic void aesthetic, and that's the primary threat that we're going to be facing down in Midnight. So by weaving players through all this narrative in their 10 through 70 experience...
Ah yes, the fucking complete dog shit cinematic for the War Within, where Lady Liadrin, one of the hottest characters in all of World of Warcraft, literally got turned into a man. Xal'atath is not great, but at least you can tell it's at least a woman, okay? Plastic, yes. Clay, yes. Not great in general, yes. Like, what the hell is this chin? I have no idea. Oh wait, I do. It's called woke. Whoopsie.
Essentially ensures that newer players will understand the upcoming dangers, and they won't feel like they're completely out of left field. After Aberrus, of course, we go over to Fractures in Time, and that is an absolutely pivotal moment. In many ways, it's where the whole World Soul saga actually starts. Essentially, it's Iridikron doing a time heist to steal Galakron's essence, which is honestly pretty rad. He then infuses that into the Dark Heart and delivers the Dark Heart to...
I have no idea what this garbage is, but I can tell you already, it's not probably a rad.
Xal'atath, and that's what directly sets up the War Within expansion. In the world where that's a new player's default level up experience, they won't need...
Okay, I guess we don't care about this. What is even Lorewalking? I have no idea.
For that. Taking a look at Blizz's infographic, we see the progression of Exile's Reach, Dragonflight, Lorewalking, and then War Within. And this placement of things is brilliant, and it makes the Lorewalking feature...
You can't be serious, you keep... Oh man, just kill me now. That's a joke, YouTube. Oh no. It's so bad. It's just, this game is just so trash. It's insane. It's insane. Oh my god, look at this slop.
Make so much more sense. If you're out of the loop, by the way, Lorewalking gives you bite-sized story experiences that are narrated by Lorewalker Cho, and currently there are 3 featured stories. The first of these explores the Ethereals, and that's basically setting up the events of Koresh. All of those things from Path.
I can explain to you the events of Koresh that make no fucking sense. Wait, no, actually I won't. I talked about this. I talked about the lore. Go watch, just write World of Warcraft in my channel search bar. And you will find me dunking on the shit tier lore so hard. Nothing makes sense. Like, all of Koresh is just garbage dribble that makes no sense why it even exists. Oh, this is the super condensed version. The most important people of this planet who had all the power were afraid to lose the power because something, and then they decide to make giant shields, and those giant shields were supposed to protect them of the void, even though the void already controlled their everything technically. And then the void came, but nothing happened, and the shields turns out was a ploy by the void to make them into bandage people, but they don't serve the void. So I'm not sure how that fucking makes sense. Yeah, that's actually the story. They make a shield that protects them from the void. That's the plan of the void. That turns them into not their slaves or whatever. And they're just opposing the void, kinda now. And that was the void's grand plan. What the hell? Like, it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense.
11.2. The second one covers Xal'atath's arrival on Azeroth and her imprisonment within the Black Blade. It actually lets you hear her whispers via dialogue with Cho, helps you understand her.
Wait, I can't wait for the moment that Xal'atath becomes a good guy and we were like, oh, Xal'atath, yeah, my family that you just murdered? Oh, that's nothing. No, not a big deal, honey. Just go do your own thing, queen, slay and whatnot.
Motivations. That's obviously important lower background for people to have. And then the third revisits Arthas and the culling of Stratholme. That's obviously emotionally...
Oh yeah, because they retconned something here. No idea what they retconned, but they did.
Powerful content that introduces one of WoW's like literally most pivotal moments. It brings in some darkness. Arthas is obviously a character that I think a lot of even lapsed players would recognize because of the Lich King. But what's neat to me is that these are not just random story choices. Each one is introducing a major type of threat. Cosmic stuff through the ethereals, more cosmic stuff through Xal'atath.
I'm pretty sure not a single person thinks that the cosmic threats are even remotely threatening. Like, none of the stuff in War Within seems even remotely threatening. None of the stuff in the cosmic sense even seems remotely, now. Like, all of this is just a joke.
Which is very important for Midnight, but also, with doing Arthas and the culling of Stratholme, they're doing stuff surrounding the light that we know is going to be important for Midnight, because we will go to Stratholme with Arator. So in Lorewalking, Blizzard are actually setting up that as well. And for new players, experiencing these foundational moments to the plot, well, it just means they'll have the context that they need.
They won't, because it's just retconning. Again, failures are just World of Warcraft shell at the end of the day. I have no idea what they retconned in the Stratholme thing, but they did. That is known. They added further context to some kind of thing, which is literally just a retcon. But it doesn't retcon a past action, it gives new context to an action. And I don't want World of Warcraft to give new contexts to, well, character motivations. The last time they did that, we got the jailer. Ain't that great? Yeah, that's the last time they did that, slop. In any case, I'm getting tired. The future is grim, and I don't know what even the... Oh, the War Within a bridge. I don't fucking care. Anyway, that was Bellier World of Warcraft 10 out of 10. Bye.